So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for our first Caterpillar webinar. This is going to be the first of a couple of webinars that we're going to be holding throughout the year. My name is Nicole Xavier. I work for CNLA in the Member Services Department. And this morning, I'm very excited to welcome Mark, Scott, and Trevor from Caterpillar, who's going to be discussing the new CAT machines and the attachments that are available for our industry. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
All right. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks to everybody who's joined us today. Right off the bat, we would love to hear from you throughout the time that we've got together. But my name is Mark Perkes, and I work with Caterpillar. I'm based down here at our design center in North Carolina, very close to Raleigh. And we've been honored at CAT to have been a part and a close partner with the Canadian Nursery Landscape Association for close to 2 decades now. And, why do we get involved with CNLA? For us at CAT, we're building a lot of machines, attachments that very much apply to the landscape and nursery industries. And for us, one of the biggest reasons we are fortunate to be a partner with CNLA is for us, we want to be as close to the landscape and nursery customers as possible. We want to learn what your pain points are, what are the challenges that you're dealing with every day, so we can make the best product possible to make your lives easier and make your businesses more profitable. These are some photos. I was honored to be at the event a few weeks ago, the National Awards event for CNLA, which this year was in Halifax. What a beautiful city. But it was awesome because that event's become one of my favorite events every year, because it's not just about meeting the landscapers and the folks who are making magic happen. It was also a celebration and seeing some of the best landscape jobs and nursery jobs across the country. So what an amazing night. So I'd encourage any of you, if you haven't been to this event, consider going to it in the future. It was so inspiring. But a big thing for us to attend these and to be a big part of it is getting a better understanding of what's going on in the industry and some of the themes that we consistently hear, not only in Canada but all around the world, continue to rise to the surface. Things like labor shortage. It seems like everyone's struggling to find, good, reliable labor to help them get the job done. The other theme that we keep on hearing is that, job sites just keep getting smaller. There's less and less space to get the job done. And the other thing that we keep hearing from landscapers and nursery owners is, they're concerned about how do we make the best use of our assets? How do we make sure that the machines or the attachments or whatever they have is doing the most work for them, and they're getting the most money out of it. These are things that we're always applying into our machines. On the screen here, you're seeing a couple of recent examples of things we've done to try to address the challenges that customers are facing, making machines easier to maintain. We know a lot of people are doing the maintenance themselves. We know a lot of people are also operating the machines themselves. So we're always trying to find ways to make it more comfortable, make the machines easier to use. One example I love to talk about is with our mini excavators. We've come out with a feature called Stick Steer, where you're able to run the excavator with your left joystick, very similar to a skid steer, and make it that much more easier to do the work and be more productive around the job site. As much as we are excited to share some of the new things we're working on, for us, we would encourage you, anyone on the call, please share your thoughts. Please share your thoughts. And this is where I'm offering an incentive to encourage people to give us their thoughts or questions. The first person to put something in the chat, whether it be a question or a comment, we're going to send you a free cat hat. And we're going to be doing this throughout the morning this morning. But please, we want to hear from you. What what are the pain points you have? What are the things that we can continue to develop for you? So please share your thoughts as we go through here. I want to introduce two of my good friends here who are also based down here in North Carolina at our design facility. We've got two of my good friends, Scott Britton, who's on our attachments team. He's the attachments manager. And Trevor Chase, he just got back from a really exciting event. We'll show some pictures of that here in a bit. But Scott, how you doing this morning, man?
Doing well, Mark. Thank you for the time and energy you all. I do appreciate it. So as Mark kind of gave you a quick heads up, I mean, you can read it, but that's always boring. I'm not a big text guy. But as it says, I'm currently the marketing manager for our division, the Caterpillars, or the smaller end of the product line relative to the total cat portfolio. But I've done a little bit of everything at Caterpillar. I've been product application specialist across all the articulated wheel loaders in the sub 32,000 pound range. I've been an in-territory support rep, much like Mark has. So working locally with our dealers and be the single go-to person covering everything that's in our division. I've done engineering in both electrical and light fabrications. So quite literally, if you need something, we can likely help you out. But being part of the attachment world, for me, it's really exciting because we get to touch all the machines and we get to see this vast array of applications. And that nursery space is very much something that we're getting into. And I'm excited to share some stuff here in the next couple of clicks with you. And plus, we're still listening. So tell us what you're looking for. That's really, really why I'm here. So thanks, Mark.
Scott, we appreciate you, man. Trevor, good morning, sir.
Thanks. Good morning. Good to see you. And I want to thank everybody on the call as well for joining us. It does mean an awful lot to us to be able to interact with all people, operators, customers, anybody in the industry. We're very thankful. We all have jobs because of these industries, and it's very important. So just want to say thank you. Same with Scott. You can read there about me. Kind of have a different path than most of my co-workers. I long before was a customer, owned my own landscape construction company. I had come up through college and things of that nature, working hard on landscaping and construction aspects of things, and then actually ended up, I was a cat skid steer customer. Ended up going to work for the cat dealership for 13 plus years, and here I am at Caterpillar for the last 7, working as the skid steer and compact track loader team lead for our next gen machines. It's a dream come true to be able to do it. Work with great people. I love these machines. The only thing I love more about it is landscaping and that industry. It is truly my passion. So it's a real honor for me to be here today and hope that I can help out in any way. So thanks, Mark.
That's awesome, man. It's good to have you, especially with your background. Landscaping and working on a tree farm was one of my first jobs too. So this is something that's meaningful for me as well.
Absolutely.
We've had some people chip in, and it looks like Leslie Cornell was one of the first people to chime in. Leslie, we're gonna send you a cat hat, and so we appreciate you being on here. We've also got several other folks who chimed in. Andrew Ronald, man, Andrew, we appreciate you being on here, and he actually, I think, is leading us into the next part of the conversation perfectly. He asked, when are we going to see the new tree spade? Scott, so how about we shift it over to you and we'll talk about some of the new attachments that are coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a few things addressed there, and one of the first things that Andrew is asking about is some of the Lamar stuff. So I don't think it's a big secret, particularly to probably to our Western Canada friends. Lamar was a local supplier there. They had a portfolio that we found very unique, and it was really an industry that we weren't strongly in at that point, but we knew there was a lot of potential there. So we looked at this industry and said what we could do. So we approached Lamar, and the short answer to it is we purchased their what would be considered IP or intellectual property. So that just doesn't mean that you put a stamp on it and you send it back out the door through another back door. It's brought in house, and we evaluated it. And if it's going to have the Caterpillar name on it, it really has to have a certain expectation of the life, of the distribution, of the integration into the machine, and so on. So that being said, this is kind of the part of that portfolio we're looking into, or part of the portfolio that we have for that matter. We looked at the industry and broke it into several different pockets, and I'm sure you all on the phone all represent different areas of that total thing, or you've interfaced with different areas of the businesses. So the first part, just being handling, is what we considered. So the given plant is out of the ground and you need to move it to the nursery, or you need to move it from the nursery onto likely a commercial flatbed truck, and you're doing a major project, or you're doing a full-on neighborhood, and every home gets 10 of this bush, and they all get one ornamental tree, and they all get so on. So you're loading up just huge amounts of stuff. And then, as Mark touched on, labor is just always an issue that we hear quite literally globally, no matter where we go. So how can we help you all with the labor that's not there? So it's kind of looking in that space. So that started off for us with that Lamar purchase of their designs and such. We brought the nursery forks in-house. So the nursery forks allow you to slip down rows at a time that are already sitting on the nursery, and then move that product out so you can load it on a truck. The one on the, remembering right, the left-hand side angle, so you can go all the way down to a 24-inch, or about a 4 to 5 gallon pot size, all the way up to a 54-inch, or just some of those huge single trees. So goes across both our skid steer product line as well as our compact wheel loader line. So that's a pretty exciting one. But that one we launched last year. It's available and out there, but it was very much in that handling space that we needed to be in. The one there in the middle is the nursery grapple. That one we brought in-house. We did some validation and testing with it. We run within Caterpillar. When we do things like this, we run what we call field follow. So we reach out to specific customers to run validation hours to get feedback, and we're quite literally trying to break it. We're trying to see what can we do with this select group of customers until we can understand to push it out mass for everybody. So we needed control interface. We needed to see what kind of endurance we have. Are the hoses going to last? Again, when you stamp Caterpillar on it, there's just an expectation. So we had to get there. So that has taken longer than we anticipated, but it's because of the right reasons. We're trying to get it right. So that nursery arm, or the nursery grapple as we're calling it, you can pick up, and you can not only tilt up and down, you can spin left and right, and then of course it has a squeeze function to it. So it will pick up, again, a huge swath of various product. But the whole idea is again, with the labor shortage issue, you're just moving someone off of the truck, or you're helping make it safer. So all it takes is one personal injury and back claim where you've strained, one of your coworkers has strained themselves too bad trying to wrestle a tree and get it where you want to get it on the truck. Whereas this product can lift it up, bring it to where it's at, tilt it, and then rotate it down. And so literally all they're doing is guiding it a little bit, as opposed to having to move that themselves. So we're expecting to see that product come out late Q4 or early Q1. So I'm pretty excited about that one. We've got a lot of feedback, some of our larger customers that we've been running with for that one. Next one there would be the mulch bucket. That wasn't really a Lamar part of the ordeal, but we had this request forever, just a very long time, and our dealers have pushed. So the new truck beds aren't like the F-150 or Silverado or Dodges, depending on your flavor of the past. They've all gotten narrower and shorter truck beds. But the mulch yards, the nursery yards, tend to sell it by the 1 yard increment to Joe homeowner like myself. All right, so I freshen up my mulch in the spring. Maybe sometimes I'll hit it in the fall. You talk to every yard, and everybody has, at some time or another, has accidentally hit a cab, has accidentally hit a truck bed. Again, a couple of insurance dings. It doesn't take very long for those to get very expensive. So the target for the 1 yard mulch bucket is to be super narrow. So it is sub 56 inches. So it is just in the space of the narrowest North American truck bed available that we could possibly find. So it fits everything. But when you do that, of course, your volume has to go somewhere. So it becomes a lot taller and a lot kind of longer. But loading up mulch at 800 some odd pounds a yard isn't bad at all. However, though, when we sent that one out to test, the first few, we just ripped it to shreds, because what else is in a mulch yard besides mulch? Well, you've got pea gravel, and you've got, AB stone, and just so on. So it became apparent very quickly that our customers also want that endurance. So we had to redesign that one. But since we've launched it again, that loads of positive feedback for it, but it is absolutely targeted to be in the narrowest of North American truck beds, and it's stamped 1 yard. So typically North America sells sells mulch by the yard or product by the yard. So it's 1 yard heap. So the customer sees what you're doing and it fits in their truck bed. So that's a pretty exciting one across the way. And then we looked at a little bit different things in the kind of the landscape portfolio. So as and it's not necessarily, again, an overlap with the Lamar, is just more of where we at. So when you come to landscape and hardscape installs, inevitably, it's not just an install. More than likely, you've also got a removal. So when you have a removal, you got to move the flat work out. So you're moving old patios, you're moving old walkways around maybe, and then you're doing these big, beautiful, new projects. So the concrete slab bucket was where that was targeted at. Again, there's a lot of people trying to use a skid steer bucket and wedge it in, but you're super wide and it works and people knew it, and you're bending up your favorite grading bucket. But a concrete slab bucket is designed to get in under that flat work and pop and pry and get that out of there. So that's really what the target for that is. But you can put it again on any skid steer CTL or any of the compact loaders with really, I say cat, but any of the compact loaders will fit within a 903 to 908 space. Anything running that skid steer interface is great. Your middle one there is your stump bucket. So again, you're kind of think about removable. So you can get in and it has jagged teeth on it. So you can dive in and cut. So you can remove products. So you can remove the roots and stuff to get that product out of there. So that's a key one that's really handy to have. And then your scoop bucket, I would say that is if you're trying to salvage whatever you're trying to remove out of the tree. So if you've got a reasonably fresh, Japanese maple you're trying to move, you can dive in that a couple times and it's like just a big spade that you can get and pop it out of there. Now, that being said, when I said the word spade, to try to go back and answer Andrew's question is, as of yet, we are looking at a tree spade. I don't have one in the near future, but it's absolutely on my long-term horizon to continue to long-term develop product in the nursery space. There's an infinite number of projects that we can do. We try to bring an awful lot to market every year within CAT, and that is one of the ones that is on our wish list to get there. It's just, as of right now, I don't have it coming like tomorrow. I'll just tell you that up front. But it is very much on our hit list, Andrew. So hopefully that answers the question that you were asking, earlier. So hopefully that'll get you there.
We got Kevin Noss, who said, I can pick one up next February, which is, Kevin, I'm not sure which of those attachments you were looking for.
I was that's one of everything, I think, is what it was.
I think it's Kevin, what do you think, my man? So you said you like to pick one up next February. Which attachment were you most excited about?
I was talking about the hat.
Oh, the hat. Okay.
Oh, I was responding to your email there. Sorry, buddy. No, that's good.
Yeah.
This is interesting. The concrete slab and the stump remover that's great. I can see that being very handy. Thanks.
I did see Leslie had a comment or a question. I need a snow bucket that'll fit in my trailer, allow me to open my door safely with the arms down. So I guess I need to see what size. We do offer snow buckets typically when it comes to snow buckets, and I just don't have them here or pictured. I can certainly get you something. Our snow buckets, being that snow is not very dense, they do tend to be quite a bit wider. So we're trying to make up for volume to make it easier to move, the products, so to move the snow. So maybe it's something that we can, that I can pass via Mark to get to you, but we have kind of some dedicated brochures and such available. It'll tell you like what all of our portfolio is in that snow space. So happy to send that over to you all and try to get it out to you if we can figure out a way to get links and such broadcast out to you.
And Leslie, feel free to post the width of your trailer so that we know what that mark is that you're trying to hit.
Greg Hussey asked, when are we going to see the nursery grapple arm? When's it going to be available?
I'm hoping so, which I don't know if you all come down to the Equip Expo. It used to be GIE, which was Green Industries Expo down in Louisville, Kentucky, in about mid-October. But we are planning to have it there, and hopefully we're going to have it on an operational machine where it can actually be used and demoed. So it's as the project moves forward, that's just kind of one of our steps. So we should have what we would consider early production. So I should have one there at that show. Then there's a few more checks and balances we have to go through. So I'm hoping to launch it at end of this year or first of next year. But certainly within the CAT dealer network, it'll be pushed out and promoted. Keep an eye out on cat.com. We'll have that as well. A lot of our social feeds as we have timing, we as the attachment team normally get a little bit of an audience, so we'll try to time a few of those things in. We also try to do things seasonally, so when it comes to green and growing type industries in the spring, we try to promote a lot of our nursery attachments in that space as well, just like we would do land clearing to as homes start to be built, and then mulch in the fall, like that type of thing. So,
and I'm seeing some banner here about the winter CNLA meetings. So Kevin, I know you're coming down next February. There's a few of you, it sounds like, that are going to be joining. So we're looking forward to meeting you guys in North Carolina, and you'll probably meet Scott and Trevor whenever you come down to visit us in North Carolina next spring. But good stuff. If there's any more questions or comments about the nursery attachments, please just pop them in there or come off mute. And Leslie, please, if you've got like the dimensions to that trailer, share them with us, and we'll take a look at that. Let's go ahead and Trevor, I know you just got back from a really cool event. Or if you go to the next photo, we got a few photos from that. What in the heck is going on here?
Oh, it was awesome, Mark. So we just launched our new next gen compact track loaders, so skid steers, rubber tired skid steers and track skid steers, and we did it at our Caterpillar facility in Edwards, out near Peoria. But what was awesome about this one is that we had a handful of the X Game gold medalists in freestyle and for motocross. Some great guys, Jared McNeil being one of them, who's an awesome ambassador for us. But we had a lot of fun. It was a great time. These pictures don't do justice what these guys were doing out there, but they were doing some pretty big flips and jumps over the machines and such, and it was a great, exciting time. And then coupled with
Scott. Is Scott the one wearing the red?
I was in the red, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It didn't last long.
Red
Red
yeah.
5. So definitely a good time. But yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. But yeah, we were there to, like I said, to launch these new machines. Last fall, we came out with our new 255 and 265. We call them compact track loaders. They're track skid steers. That's what everybody knows them as. It's the next generation. And we kind of made this one easy. We were just doing more of everything now. It's just more power, more performance, more comfort. You're going to get more torque, available torque out of the engine. We increased the lift height on every single one of those machines. That we were coming out with more lift and tilt breakout forces. So, whether it's lifting up a pallet of pavers or wall block, or even moving, some bag and burlap, nursery stock, things of that nature, we have better forces to be able to do that now. We redesigned the machine to be able to get better ingress and egress, and then inside the machine, you have so many options now where so many people, this is their office nowadays. It's no different than maybe your vehicle is for a lot of construction guys. We know that people are spending more time in the machines and trying to make it so that these machines are comfortable, that you want to be in it, and that you're going to get the work done with it. But some really, really great things with these next gen machines. We've been listening for so long now to customers, and we've had so many operators coming in and trying machines and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and just trying to do the best machine we can do, instead of being just a company that's always done a lot of good stuff. Like, hey, the machine's pretty good at all of these things, but maybe it's not the best in everything. This time we just took a different route. We're like, let's just go out and try to make a killer machine and make it the best it can be. That 255 and the 265 was our first part of the launch, but we've also come out with our new rubber tire, so our regular skid steers, a 250, 260, 270, and a 270 XE. Once you get up into that 270 XE, that's where you start talking about extreme hydraulic performance, where you're getting high flow, 40 gallons a minute at just about 4,500 psi, which really makes any attachment that you have on it that can take that flow, whether it be mulchers or stump grinders, things of that nature. That's really an amazing product. We've also done something new in these bigger machines, the 270 and the 270XE, where we're now offering rear auxiliary hydraulics. So completely separate from the front hydraulics where you'd have attachments to. So, and this is going to be the same in the large track loaders. I'll show you that in a minute. But from the nursery guys, things like stabilizers can now be plumbed easy. It's there. We use things like scarifiers, and we have plans for other rear attachments. But from the nursery end of things, it'd be much easier nowadays. It would be a more integrated factory design to be able to have stabilizers on the back, especially if you guys are going to be digging trees. And when Scott and his team get us that tree spade someday, we'll be able to put that on the front and have your stabilizers on the rear and be able to have a really good digging machine for trees. So same thing here. Just want to say more lift, whether it be whatever you do, more lift height, more forces, more tilt breakout. That's the ability to curl a bucket back, and then lift breakout, ability to actually lift that product up. But again, the lift height, we're now getting into really high lift heights for people that they just want it. We know that in North America, customers don't do the minimum. Operators don't do the minimum, right? They do the maximum, and the machines need, they're always pushing machines. You guys are always pushing machines to their limits, and we wanted to make sure that those machines, could do that stuff. I'm really excited for the next slide, though, because this is an all. So the 275 and 275XE, that replaces our 299 D3. If any of you guys know that, 299 has always been a really big flagship Caterpillar machine. But the 285 and the 285XE, that is new for us. This machine is exciting. It's a heavyweight champion. The thing is big. It's a monster. You can see it there in the picture with a scarifier on it. Same thing goes for these machines. You can have rear aux on the back. You can get them with the XE package on the front. You can do land management. You can do bare bones machines. And just the sheer amount of power and performance that we're getting in these, just to give you an idea, that 285, 146 inches of lift height, 3.7 meters. Right now, I'm not aware of anybody in the industry that has a compact track loader that can lift that high. It doesn't. There was some machines that used to be able to lift high, but not this high, and not with the stability that we're able to do. We changed the undercarriage to an E-bar, which is similar, equalizer bar, similar to our bulldozers and track loaders that we have, and has given these machines amazing stability. So, we're trying to limit the amount of pitchiness or rocking that you get when you're lifting heavy loads with these big machines, making sure that people stay balanced and comfortable, operators, knowing that they're not going to go over on their nose. So, that stability was one of the biggest things that we did in this entire project. We got our engine lower for a low center of gravity, and we made those changes to the undercarriage, which completely changed the stability and the ability to not only lift those heavy weights, but what do you do afterwards, right? Everybody can claim, I can lift up a heavy weight, but what we have tested and found is once you start moving with it, that's a whole different ball game. That's a entirely different ball of wax. But something I think somebody talked about visibility in there, right? Extremely important. Skid steers, yeah, they don't have the visibility that wheel loaders have. But one of the things that we were able to do with this machine was increase the visibility. We made the cab bigger, more viewable area. And when we lowered that engine down, you can see out the back, right out the back window, just like the best of them. But we have done something else that's really cool. Not only do we have that reverse camera, we now have side view cameras as well. You can back up on a trailer or go in between buildings or trucks, or right down the paths, the lines of the nursery stock, and know that when you're backing up, you're going to be able to see everything. So some really cool changes that we've made there, and really bringing us to, I like to say, I mean, it's a lot like the automotive world, right? Like that's what drives everything. iPhones in the automotive world, and Samsung, right? Like it's the things that you're using in your daily life, and those are the things that you expect in your jobs, and being able to get things done right, done efficiently, and done safely. And that's where our focus is. So a lot of neat things. I could keep talking about this all day, but if you guys have any questions, love to answer it. But some exciting stuff. Talk to your dealers. Check out social media. We have a lot of content going out on social media about these next gen machines, and they're going to be near you soon. So keep your eye out for them.
Good stuff, Trevor. And I think your point about the visibility, that's great. I know Kevin mentioned that as a big concern, who's on the call with us here. And it sounds like, Kevin, we're looking forward to getting you that machine, man. And so up in Canada, we've got Finning to the west. We got Battlefield and Tormont to the east. There are our local dealerships. They are, if you have any interest in these products, please reach out to them, and they'll get you set up and tell you more about it and help you out. I see, Trevor, there's another slide here talking about more power. Did you run through that on the next slide?
Yeah,
here?
I did. Right. And this is just one of those things that, so when you're talking about attachments, and you can see that there's a snowblower there, also some mulchers, coal planer, wheel saw, and then even a brush cutter there. What we have found in our design is that the optimal performance, it's never just flow, and it's never just pressure. You have to have both, right? So the flow of an attachment is what gives you the speed, and the pressure is what gives you the recovery. The pressure is what gets you back into, if that blade cuts through a piece of brush or a tree, it's the pressure that gets it back to be able to hit it again. And so with the new system, our updates to our XE, that extreme performance that we have, that 40 gallons a minute at the 4495 psi is a optimum working range. And we have an entire lineup of attachments that an XE machine can run any of the Caterpillar and almost every competitive attachment, right? But when you match it with a Caterpillar 400 series attachment, those machines and those attachments are designed for ultimate performance. And so this is just one of those, just a few examples of some of the attachments that you can get out there in a 400 series, and really get the best out of the next generation machines, and of course the work that you do. So yeah, just a quick shout out to the attachment side of things, and then pair it with our hydraulic system, and it's pretty amazing what we're able to do right now.
And that's one of the key things that we work very closely with the various host machine product groups to make sure that we're pairing up. We're not designing things in two bubbles where the skid steer team is over on one side of town and we're on the other. It's very much in a partnership to make sure that we're pairing up those attachments such that everything is integrated and optimized to be as good as it can possibly be, and then serviced as well. So if you want to put we call them 400 series, so that's the biggest, baddest tools start with a 4. So if you want to put a 400 series snowblower on a large XE machine and you want to put snow over your house and onto your neighbor's house, that's what that's there for. It has an incredible amount of throw to it. And then you also line up various other applications that we have, such as coal planing or wheel saws or mulching or land clearing or whatever. But it's not everything needs all the flow, but certainly if you need it, we have the options to put it there.
These are what's great about this is I look at this and I know from you guys calling in that, yeah, that's all great, right? And definitely, machines that are designed this way and attachments that are designed this way, everything has a cost, right? They're not dirt cheap. But I want to stress, we also have, our machines, even at their base level, can do an amazing amount of work, and you may not need all of this stuff or any of this stuff, depending on what it is that you do. But we have machines that meet your needs too, as well, right? Like, I think sometimes people think that at Caterpillar, we only have the biggest, or we try for the biggest, the baddest, that full on, fully loaded up, super expensive setup. When actually, no, you know what I mean? We do an awful lot with just the what I'll call the regular side of things, just being able to have machines that just go out and do the work. So keep that in mind.
So we're designing machines just, for a lot of, for niche applications as well as, your normal day-to-day applications. And there's been a lot of great feedback in the chat here. Greg Hussey, I appreciate your comment here. You said you move a great number of trees at Murray's Landscaping in Newfoundland, Canada. I've never been to Newfoundland, Canada. I would love to go to Newfoundland, Canada. He said it would take a lot of risk out of their job, meaning the nursery grapples and the tree or the tree spades. Sam Cartwright from Eagle Lake Nursery says that they love their new skid steer. That's awesome, Sam. Which model you got? If you can even come out mute, we'd love to hear from you. And let's see here. Andrew Ronald, appreciate your comment here that the nursery grapple looks interesting. Want a tree to see the new tree sped. Andrew also volunteered to be a test to test some of these attachments out. Scott, Trevor, I don't know if you want to mention. I think it's always neat to see how CAT designs, how we design the machines, but you want to touch on just the involvement that we have with customers while we design a machine?
Yeah, I'll start. I know Scott will have plenty to talk about from his end as well too. And we both work together in all of this that we do. We focus so much time and energy into evaluating attachments, not only at our own facilities, but with customers. Scott was talking about, I think Scott, you had actually used the term field follow. Maybe it's just in my head. The days all run together now. But,
I may have.
We try to put these things out there into the real world and break these attachments and break these machines so that when we go to production, we have the fix and know that the machine can do it. But yeah, we're always actively seeking operators. I don't like saying customers, right? It's operators. It can be customers, just businesses, people that we can partner with that can help us test, whether it be a machine or an attachment, things of that nature. And there's different scenarios. It's usually under different applications. Sometimes it's more than one application, multiple. It could be general type stuff. Sometimes it's snow. Sometimes it's, landscaping. Sometimes it's mulching. Sometimes it's paving. It could be all sorts of things. But we're always looking to work with customers so that we can put more machines out there, more attachments out there, and make sure that we are going to put the best product forth that we can put. That is 100% what we want to do. And at the same time, it's so much better, me coming from the side that I come from, right? Like, it's so much better when it's coming from an operator, a customer, when they're able to give us the feedback, and it's just real. And not that it isn't real in our own endurance situations and things of that nature. It's just different. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing to be involved in. It makes for great relationships, and there's no doubt it plays a big role in us making the quality machines that we do. Scott, I mean, I'll kick it to you. I know it's similar situations. No, we use some of the same people,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to Trevor's point too, through my various roles that I've been in the design engineering space and in the so-called commercial product space, and been an in-field rep supporting our dealerships, then I've dealt with the field follows, as we call them, and all kinds of different facets of just my different roles. And it's an incredibly important part of what we do at CAT to test it, validate it, prove it. I mean, we can tell you that everything's great on our side, but it's so much better to hear that live, true feedback from an operator that's using this 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day to put food on their table. And those nuances about the tuning of the hydraulics, the placement of the switches, the comfort of the air conditioning, the quietness of the cab to take a phone call. There's any and everything is on the table when we do these things. I mean, there's certainly certain validations that we're trying to find. So we tend to put product in Colorado to have, so we can validate in low oxygen content at high elevation. And we tend to put product down in Arizona when you have high desert. So it's incredibly hot with low oxygen content. So we can just test and stress and try to make the best product available for it. But those relationships that we have built over the years, to Trevor's point, we do this constantly. We reach out, we have just great conversations with people. Sometimes we have reoccurring, because it's not that they told us and patted us on the back and told us everything was oh, this is great, I'll take 10. It's the feedback where they're saying, I need this to do this better, this bogs down when I do this, or I feel like the power is there, but the balance is not right. Can you help me out? And those are the type of things that are just absolutely, you just can't put a number on it, that are so valuable to us. So it's super important. And then kind of along those lines, Mark, what you pinged me to, Kevin asked a question about that he had heard the 906, 7, and 8 run the same engine and have the same power. So really from that H series model on, so that was H, H2, M's, and now they've dropped the letter as the product has evolved through the generations. They all do run the same engine and they all do run the same horsepower. So they're right at that 74 horsepower threshold. And forgive me, I never can remember what the kilowatt conversion to it is, but it's right at the 74 horsepower threshold to keep under the DEF limit because of where that product is and how it runs. So then Kevin further asked, like, well, if that's the case, is the 908, because it's running a bit of a heavier product, or a bit of heavier machine and different hydraulics and a different linkage, because the 8 will lift more, has more breakout, does way more than the 906. So does that mean the engine is working harder? I guess in theory you could say yes, but it's really designed around that whole product line. So the engine is optimized to run the 8. You could also look at it in another way, that the 906 is probably going to get up to speed a little bit faster because it weighs less. So that could be another way to say that. But I guess I'm not concerned about the long-term longevity of the engine itself. It's a great product line. We've had them out there forever. And some of those things will go like 20, 30,000 hours if you take care of them. High stats, you keep them cool, you keep them clean, they'll run forever. So that's the beauty of them. But I'm not overly concerned about any kind of wear indicators or such. But that's an excellent observation, excellent question there, Kevin.
Hey, Mark, I want to add something before. I know we're going to come up on time here soon, but just because I am so passionate about this industry, there's a lot of thought out there still to this day. I mean, I still come across it quite a bit in my travels, where people think that CAT is for the big customer. And I mean, I can tell you, back in the day, I thought the same thing as a customer, right? And then working for the dealer, and now working, it's not the case. Caterpillar is very much invested into big construction equipment, but we're just as much invested into the smaller equipment that is what all of you guys use. Whether or not Caterpillar is your provider or CAT is your provider, we make equipment for those solutions, and we're dedicated to it. And your dealers, Tormont, Battlefield Fitting, that are there on the screen, they're dedicated to it. And we have been making, for instance, skid steers for decades now, right? And it's a lot of times we just don't even think of it that way. But we're here, we're in the industry, we're active, and even if you're not doing business with us, sure, we'd love to be doing business with you. I mean, that's great, but we still want to support you, no matter what you buy. We still want to support your industry and help all of you in any way that we can. So just want to make that sure that this isn't some sales pitch from the Caterpillar guys. That's not it. We truly love our jobs, and we love the industries that we serve, and just wanted to say how much we're out there to support you all as businesses. So we are not, everyone always says big cat. That's the one, the big cat. And it's like, yeah, you know what? We've got an awful lot of small equipment.
And that's a great point, Trevor. And we're 3 examples of that. I mean, three of us have spent our entire careers specializing more in this size of product and this type of customer. So, and anyone who comes to North Carolina is going to see that firsthand.
No doubt.
We're looking
I'm
forward.
trying to remember what the spec or the number is, but there are significantly more customers in this world that own 3 machines or less than there are large corporations that have these just gargantuan fleets. I mean, we geek out when we see big stuff too. There's nothing cooler than seeing a 797 being loaded out by a 994, but at the same time, that's not my customer. My customer is you all. My customer tends to run a mini hex and a skid steer, or maybe just one or the other. They're the folks that I see up and down the road coming in and out of my neighborhood on my window that are doing these installs. These are our people. So this is very important to me. And Trevor, there's a question from where did it go to? From Leslie, asking about the ISO drives on machines that doesn't overly care for operating with the ISO, or I guess that would be a one-handed drive. Can you comment on the any kind of options for being able to do two-handed drive, more like some of the other patterns, I guess I would say?
So you can still do an H pattern. That is standard in our machines now. Different people call it different things. It's been known as the case pattern, things of that nature. But as far as hand and foot controls, the hand and foot control side of it, right now we're not in that side of things with hand and foot controls. We do tend to stick to the ISO pattern, right, which is the left-hand joystick moves the machine forwards, backwards, side to side. Right side does your boom and your implements, your bucket or whatever tool you have on it. Like I said, other than the H pattern, which now it's just in the next gen, it's just a press of the button in the monitor. Previously, in some of our previous products, you just had to get it turned on and have a switch put in. We've done away with that, but that is where we stand right now with ISO pattern and H pattern.
Good stuff, Trevor. Thanks for that.
Glad you answered that. I thought I knew the answer, but I'm glad you answered that.
And I see Sam has responded saying that the skid steer that he has, the 272 D3, works well for their larger root balls. That's awesome, Sam. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
going to be. They are great machines. The 272s for moving, like you said, plant material of that size, and even for rubber tire, getting a far distance from the center of the machine. 270 is just going to be even better. So that's awesome to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been great. I hope everyone's enjoyed it as much as we have. In the end, if you've got any additional questions or comments, we're going to send out we'll send a follow-up note to everyone who was attending. I know there were a few requests for some brochures. We'll get those into your hands. But if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to your local dealership. Finning, Tormont, Battlefield, they are here to help and to partner with you as well. And Lauren and Nicole and Dave and everyone else from the CNLA Association, we appreciate you having us.
Mark, we want to thank you, Trevor and Scott, for your time today. We truly do value your time and appreciate the conversations. I just want to also remind members who are on this call that there are member saving programs with Caterpillar, and you can reach out to the Member Services Department at CNLA to learn more about that. You can receive up to $2,750 on certain machines, as well as additional $250 off of attachments. And if you're looking to rent any Caterpillar equipment at Finning, Tormont, or Battlefield, you receive 10% off. So some good savings there for our members.
Well, thanks again, and we'll chat soon. Looking forward to hosting anyone who's going to be coming down to North Carolina here in a few months.
Yeah, excited to meet everyone.
Thank you for your time. Take care.